Hello and welcome back once again to the massive YouTube Iceberg. Today I'll be covering the second half of Tier 10. As always, thank you to 80 Constant, Bagus of Swaggus, Hollowed, Original But Unfunny, Snail Demon, The Mungler, and Toyminator 900, and everyone else for supporting me on Patreon, as well as the Ko-fi supporters too. We've got an honestly stupid amount of stuff to cover, so let's waste no time. Yeah, this is probably the best way we could have started this video. We call that foreshadowing. Don't You Touch My Stinky Poopy Doo-Doo is an animated music video with around 8,000 views, composed and narrated by Andrew Frankel in 2019. It features this weird Cyclops creature singing about how he doesn't want you to touch his stinky poopy doo-doo.
Don't you touch my stinky poopy doo-doo. I wanna keep my poopy in my doo-doo treasure chest.
It was apparently his first ever solid effort at animating, which, I mean, honestly not terrible given that information, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to judge him for the subject matter. Beyond this video, though, on his channel he has a fair amount of music he's composed, as well as song covers, and he's honestly pretty good at it. Look at that, he's also a voice actor. I wonder who he's played. Let's see, nothing too major. He voiced Fancy and Johnny Quest and Jellystone, Professor from Mars Express, okay, creature vocalizations from Dead Space Remake, and no, that fucking dog. For those of you who aren't real Swegwin fans, I made a video about Raindog from Multiverses a while back and how weird his inclusion was in the roster. I also made a specific point in that video to talk about how they announced Raindog's voice actor, despite Raindog not making any noises in the game.
What do they have Andrew Frankel doing? What is he getting paid for?
Well, in a recent update, they actually added his voice finally, and why does he sound like that? Fedsmoker is the main online identity of a man named Conald Peterson, and well, he's certainly a character.
Tell goddamn Uncle Sam this fucking food cards for cigarettes and booze, because it's for me. It's all about me.
He walks around acting and speaking more akin to a one-off South Park character than an actual real person, provoking any police officer he sees and spouting off whatever random bullshit he thinks of, all the while filming it.
Look, what do you guys want to be? You want to be a baby raper? You got to be something here since Donnie ain't going to face me. What's your name? Officer Curl. Curl, you want to be a rapist or what do you want to do? A baby raper?
A weird part of me finds his content oddly entertaining. He has over 100 YouTube channels, all with different names that are mostly variations on the name Fedsmoker or the Herkster, which is his other moniker. He has so many alternate accounts that there are probably some of his channels we don't even know about to this day.
Yeah. Hey man. Hey man, let's smoke some pot, drink some beer, eat some wine.
He was born in the town of Harvard, Nebraska, a place with around 1,000 people, and a notable geese section on its Wikipedia article. But why exactly does he like fucking with police officers so much? I mean, besides the fact that he's clearly cripplingly addicted to methamphetamines.
Normal, give it up for him, okay? Thank you for being normal, guys, because I am indeed normal.
Well, the way his story started was that in 2001, the Harvard, Nebraska police chief was conspiring to burn down several buildings around the city. He asked our buddy Conald over here for help, and he recorded it and reported it to state investigators. And then the police chief was later arrested. After this moment, he dedicated the rest of his life to stomp out every damn dirty pig in the country. Or in other words, smoke every Fed.
Yeah,
What is that?
a Fed smoker?
Yeah.
Well, it's a guy, if you notice the car's got cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I actually put like a chief of police in jail for burning houses in my life. Oh, I used to wire up for the state, and I've done a little work for the task, and yeah, I just take it in, you know. This is what you guys need, though.
He believes that he's some kind of CIA double agent whose job it is to go after crooked police officers who are not doing their job correctly and correct them. In the process, he acts like the most stereotypical portrayal of an American possible, constantly yelling and putting on this macho man Randy Savage-esque voice. unless that is just his actual voice. He also has a habit of calling people he doesn't like, baby rapers. And I mean, like, anyone he doesn't like.
I'll put your fucking chief on the net as baby rapers. I get snubbed one more time out of this store. You watch and see, bitches. I'm gonna put this dog on the net as a baby raper, too. You fucking baby raper! You fucking baby raper!
Is he insane? Yeah, probably, but he's also such an endearing character. There's not much I can really tell you about why I find him so interesting without just showing you a bunch of clips. With all that being said, though, it's important to note that he did sadly pass away in his van in 2020 at the relatively young age of 53, most likely from drug overdose. One could only imagine he's up there smoking pigs in heaven. 25 North 71 West is an obscure YouTube channel covered briefly in Rainbot's Petite Tube video. It seems to be a failed ARG with only around 5 videos, one of which has since been taken down. Don't really have enough info in these videos to see what they were cooking, but the production value definitely seems a little rough. Is that the default Sony Vegas font? Are you serious, man? I kind of feel insulted. At that point, you might as well put in some spinning sample text. For those wondering, by the way, those coordinates lead to the middle of the ocean within the Bermuda Triangle. So yeah, I guess that's a pretty scary place to put coordinates for. Devin Michael Erickson is a former YouTuber and, I'll just cut to the chase here, was, alongside Alec McKinney, one of the 2 perpetrators of the STEM School Highlands Ranch shooting that occurred in May 2019 in Colorado. The shooting left 1 student dead and 8 more injured. Devin was 18 years old at the time, and after the tragedy, people discovered his YouTube channel, which only had 3 Dead by Daylight streams on it and no videos. This is another one of those school shooters who, for some reason, has a fan base of girls who thinks he's really attractive. I certainly don't get it. As you should probably be familiar with by now, YouTube was created in April of 2005. However, there are, or at least were, a select amount of videos that for some reason displayed as being uploaded on either December 31st, 1969 or January 1st, 1970, which would mean it would predate the internet itself by around 13 to 14 years. Almost all of these videos specifically say that they premiered on that date though, not that they were uploaded on that date, which is effectively the same thing, but obviously when it says it premiered on that date, it means that it was live streamed before it was uploaded with the premiere feature, which some channels use when they upload a video. Nowadays it's a pretty commonly used feature, but I suppose that when it was rolling out, they must have fucked up somewhere, and some videos just started defaulting to the Unix epoch, which would be midnight, January 1st, 1970. For a little background, time in computers is often measured with Unix time, which is a big number that measures the seconds passed between the epoch and a certain point in time, which for YouTube videos is the time and date it was released. Something internally with this feature made it reset the time to 0, and thus the time was set to 1969 or 1970, depending on whether you live west or east of this big line. Funny enough, if you have an iOS device and you change your device time back to this date, it can cause a whole lot of problems for the system, including a high likelihood of straight up bricking whatever device you're using. So of course this fake image started circulating around 2016, originating from 4chan. It appears to be an official Apple website telling you to set your time to January 1st, 1970, and you'll discover an Easter egg where your iPhone will get this cool classic Macintosh theme. It's a pretty underrated prank, up there with the other fake 4chan tech tips like microwaving your iPhone to get it to charge faster, or iOS 7 making the phone waterproof. The viral video is a YouTube video uploaded by Tristan Lambert. He claims to have found this video in an attic. He has no idea who recorded it. Yada yada yada. It makes you take your own life when you watch it. Yeah, we've seen this all before. Most interesting thing about this one is that Tristan actually uploaded a video to his channel where he answers if it's real. And also, I thought he was saying the N-word in the video, which no, apparently he's just saying alone never stops. Maybe it was the visual effect gaslighting me into that conclusion, I don't know.
Never.
Whoa! Is that blackface, dude?
Ask About Events, which has now been rebranded to Ask About Horizons, is this YouTube channel created in 2019 that seems to be somewhat of a modern day equivalent to Expert Village Leaf Group. They have over 30,000 videos and counting, and all of them are either tutorials or answering questions. However, unlike Expert Village, these videos don't seem to be done by real people filming themselves and answering questions. I guess that's where the modern day part of the sentence really pulls its weight. These videos clickbait you into thinking there's this real woman explaining how these things work, but it ends up just being a short clip of her talking, followed by a text-to-speech voice reading off some very likely AI-generated paragraphs in the YouTube tutorial equivalent to those stupid articles that rise to the top of Google search nowadays whenever you search for any question without putting Reddit at the end. And I don't like putting Reddit at the end. It's embarrassing. Makes me feel like a Redditor. And I feel like if I put Reddit at the end of my search terms enough times, I'm gonna wake up one day with a wall of Funko Pops hung up in my room. And this poster. Ask About Horizons videos are very weird for lack of better terminology. Let's take a look at this one. How do you get rid of static electricity in your body? Which, I mean, already kind of a weird topic for a video, right? You wouldn't think that many people would be looking that up, but hey, it's one of the most popular videos on their channel, so maybe I'm just wrong. But just take a look at this.
Take our lead. Let's help you make your mark. Our goal is your satisfaction. Let us show you the way.
The fastest way to get rid of static
The video starts out with the woman in the thumbnail saying some generic sentence that doesn't relate to the topic, and then, like I said, in comes the AI-generated paragraph. Okay, well, let's look through the video, and oh, there's chapters. I wonder if the woman comes back again.
Take our lead.
Some objects such as
Take our lead. Okay, let's go to the next chapter.
Take our lead.
Again?
Take our lead. Let's help you make your mark.
more videos on YouTube.
Okay, I don't know how make your mark is an applicable phrase to finding out how to get rid of the static electricity in my body. Wait a minute, that's not even the same woman in the thumbnail. What the hell is going on? Literally all 33,000 of their videos is like this. Sure, maybe Expert Village didn't always have the most qualified people making videos.
How to draw a whale or stingray. Top fin, bottom fin.
But at least they were made by people. There was a level of authenticity and, dare I say, soul to those videos. At least they provided some kind of entertainment value from the cringe. But Ask About Events or Horizons or whatever is nothing. I mean, I guess at least sometimes the AI generates some funny ideas for videos. Like, how do I make my phone camera see through clothes? Like, what the fuck? Should 13-year-olds wear diapers? Can I breastfeed my husband without being pregnant? When do babies get their skin color? What is India's zip code? Is pregnant tummy hard or soft? What makes a what makes a man's balls tighten up? Well, someone wasn't tugging enough. Okay, you know what? I immediately changed my mind. There actually is merit to this existing because it's fucking hilarious. Their website, askabout.video, shows that they have around 8 channels, all with the exact same videos on them, just slightly different. Like, they say they're all based around certain topics. Like, for example, Ask About Essentials provides you with basic knowledge, everyday tips, and life hacks, while Ask About Impact focuses on more real-world effects of actions and decisions. But let's look at the channel trailers for each.
The smart ones reach their goals and move faster in life. Basically, this requires knowledge and accurate answers. The smart ones reach their goals and move faster in life. Basically, this requires knowledge and accurate answers.
They're slightly different, maybe different takes of the same lines, but it's essentially the exact same shit between all of these channels. They're the same questions that they probably pulled from some Google search data. But who was searching up if 13-year-olds should wear diapers? The truth is, diapers are actually healthier for you than holding it, since you're supposed to poop a minimum of 5 times a day, and you're supposed to pee a minimum of 7 times a day. So thereby, the only way anyone to keep up with what their body's actually supposed to do is if they're in a diaper. Otherwise, they can't keep up with daily structure. I've been saying now, last half year, to my half mom to let me wear a diaper. But she say 13-year-old boy can't wear diaper. But now, I found this and showed to her. And now, I can wear diaper. I even wear diapers at school sometimes. I'm so happy. Am almost 37 and wear diaper/nappies. Am adult baby. I have a mummy. So that changes my nappy/diaper. If people don't like it, don't look and don't ask me. That's what I say in life. Well, my question's answered.
Make your mark. Take our lead.
Babies show that peeing in a diaper is blissful.
A few years ago, YouTube had this obscure Easter egg if you were using specifically YouTube TV, which is the version of YouTube that comes on TVs and video game consoles, and if you held down the fast forward button, there's this dog that runs across the screen for some reason. It was a cute little secret, but I suppose at some point that YouTube got rid of it for whatever reason, making it one of the rarest Easter eggs ever added to the site. It was not only available for only a short time, but also was only available on YouTube TV, so you couldn't get it to work on desktop or mobile, which are easily the two most popular ways to browse YouTube. I don't know why they got rid of this. I'm sure it didn't cost them money to leave up, right? Whatever, it's not like this is even in like the top 50 weirdest YouTube decisions. Mario Piss Jar is a video I believe was originally uploaded by Joe Capo.
Help me! Get me out of here!
Hey, speaking of. Kinda surprised this guy's this far down, but Joe Capo is a meme channel who first gained popularity around 2017. He's most well known for two things, one of which is his Brother May I Have Some Oats series, which is the series where this fat as fuck pig kept asking this other fat as fuck pig if he could have some oats. It was a pretty big meme in 2017 and definitely is of its time period. However, it's fairly recently come back a little bit because of a video by Burial Goods, which is actually a tribute to Joe Capo, as mentioned in the description. The other thing he's known for is Dragon Ball X, a bizarre Dragon Ball fan series done in MS Paint and text-to-speech voices. This series would be a parody of Dragon Ball Super, featuring meme characters like Shrek and Peter Griffin, and most notably, Gohan Blanco and Ultra Instinct Shaggy. I thought Dragon Ball X was where these characters originated, but apparently it isn't, though it's definitely where they were popularized. A theory I have on why Joe Capo is so far down is that he kinda likes being obscure. Whenever a video of his gets too popular, he usually ends up deleting it and leaving the internet for a bit before coming back and starting the cycle over again. It's kinda like a perpetual unus annus for shit posters, even though re-uploads of his content are pretty much everywhere. Jack, A Story from the Past is an animation uploaded in 2007. Basically, the uploader found this sound file on his computer from when he was 16, which is an improvised story that he made up. He then decided to animate it and upload it to YouTube. It's a charming video, but not super remarkable until you realize who uploaded it. Amazing Phil, also known as Phil from Dan and Phil, an early YouTube star who is actually still around to this day, with a pretty huge fan base. Neat. The Presence is, from what I can tell, promotional material for the 9 Inch Nails album Year Zero. I guess there's gonna be some web series during the follow-up to this album. For 53 seconds, it's a pretty effective horror short and features this freaky monster. Cool stuff. Slice and Dice Productions. Yeah, I couldn't find a whole lot about this one. It's a channel that no longer exists, with little to no archive around. Judging from this random reaction video though, it seems to be a channel where a child plays with his toys and screams a lot. So I'm not sure I'm missing much by not having an archive of this channel's content, but it's also on the Iceberg in the first place, so maybe there's some level of significance. I found a Reddit post on r/demon2youtube, which has now been deleted, but it links to one of the videos. Putting into the Wayback Machine, we still don't have an archive for the channel, but we do get to see their channel name and profile picture, as well as the description. Ducky and Bunny escape the concentration camp. So yeah, whatever this was, I'm sure it was a generational YouTube talent. Eating Adam Sandler is a channel ran by a man named Summer Corrales, who at one point was dedicated to eating a printed out photograph of Adam Sandler every day until he watches Happy Gilmore with him and his boys. There are a lot of channels like this, like 50K for example, who has been eating a picture of Mr. Beast every day until he donates him $50,000. However, Eating Adam Sandler gave up around the 150 days mark, and 50K is still going and recently reached day 2000. So, I guess you know who's really dedicated. You know, when I talked about Mama Max back in, tier 6, when I talked about the story he made up about how he exposed a quote-unquote pedo cult, I kind of felt like I was being too harsh to him. Like, while there was no channel with the name Cartoon Incorporated ever on YouTube, I suppose there was a chance that he actually did find a channel that did the things what he was talking about, and just changed the names around so as to protect the victims or whatever. But after the things that came out about him recently, yeah, I really don't feel too bad. Several people have gone back and commented on that part of the video, saying it aged like fine wine. For those of you who don't know, Mama Max is an honestly really corny predator hunter channel who got into a lot of shit earlier this year following some drama he got into with Moist Critical, where he tried to expose him for not responding to his DMs. This is one of his many attempts to blackmail and guilt trip popular YouTubers into participating into this predator hunting LARPing shit he did as his main form of content. When they didn't comply with his demands, he would become furious and start harassing them, claiming that they're complicit in the sexual exploitation of children, because they didn't respond to his Discord DMs. It was by this point that many YouTubers he had contacted would make videos about him, criticizing his methods of quote-unquote catching the predators, as he would most likely put it. Although apparently, that Moist Critical video wasn't actually about Critical, and instead it was just bait and switch to spread information about whatever predator he's investigating.
My name is Max Stryker. I'm a filmmaker dedicated to empowering children. This is a call to action disguised as a cancellation.
I fucking hate the way he talks in his videos, dude. He puts on this super deep, bassy voice whenever he talks to play up the entertainment factor of the video. He also goes super hard on the editing and plays this character who's like this cool, badass Hotline Miami kind of guy. Why do this for a channel which is supposed to be centered around such a very serious subject matter as kids being in danger of child predators? Does it make it any better that all of his videos are fake? Yeah, that was one of the other things that people were also starting to realize about Mama Max's content. A lot of these predator hunting stories are shit he just made up for views. A lot of these videos, like for example the Cartoon Incorporated video, do not feature sufficient evidence or just feature completely fabricated evidence, which I mean, I kind of figured, like, it's kind of obvious. When I made the Cartoon Incorporated segment in tier 6, all of these very obvious tells that it was fake was present, but people believed it just because it's a guy with hundreds of thousands of subscribers talking. Plus, he's a, pedo hunter, and if you doubt him and he turns out to be right, then, guess what, dumbass? You just defended a child molester cult! It's like Pascal's Wager for edgy commentary YouTubers. There's also this thing he did where he rebranded his channel to the name God Cult. And, oh Jesus, I don't want this segment to be too long. Basically, he tried to get involved with a real case, unlike his stupid fucking LARP videos, and he completely mishandled the information, doxing innocent people, and basically showing people that he's not some cool internet vigilante. He's just a fucking dweeb who used to review hentai on YouTube. Oh, and, yeah, that's actually what this entry is about. Back in the day, he used to do these videos where he poked fun at hentai.
できたよ。いや、久しぶりだね。ルルナちゃん。ケイちゃん、エッチするよ。服脱いで。
And yeah, I mean, looking back, this content is pretty fucking cringe, but significantly less cringe than whatever he's been doing for the past 4 years on YouTube.
Behind the clicks and views of internet drama, there's a story we're overlooking. Millions of stories, in fact. Stories that scream for immediate attention, yet continue to be muffled by the cacophony of the latest drama or trend. Let's take a moment to step back from the online spectacle and face the...
This whole time, you could have been arguing about what SS Sniper Wolf is doing. You could have been discussing and paying attention to something that's truly important and worth your time. Which is me, because I really love inserting myself into every situation possible. Like, oh my fucking god, he made a song.
Now you're the prey, and we're the pred. Now you're the prey, and we're the pred.
Oh, actually, you know what? You know what? Watch this one. This one's really funny.
Guys.
That clip was the completely unedited first 15 seconds of his apology/response video. The fake tomato, the SpongeBob clip, that I didn't edit that in. That was him. That was all him. I think this might go down as one of the worst response videos of all time, which is saying a lot because there are a lot of really, really bad response videos on YouTube. If this Iceberg part came out like a year ago, this probably wouldn't be a very long entry. And I would literally just be talking about his hentai reviews, and it'd be a fun, like, oh, look at how this YouTuber's content was different way back when. Kind of like the Mudahar's old creepypasta readings entry. But man, it is astounding how he destroyed all the goodwill he had in a matter of a year. Though honestly, it's kind of astounding he managed to get that goodwill in the first place. The Atrocious YouTubers Wiki is a now deleted wiki created in 2018 that would chronicle all the worst people YouTube has to offer. When I say that, you'll probably think I was talking about like murderers, sexual assailants, groomers, you know, really bad shit that would definitely qualify them as quote-unquote atrocious YouTubers. However, a lot of articles on this wiki are for pretty innocuous YouTubers, like Electric Dragon 505, I guess. I don't know who that is, but he doesn't seem that bad. Cinema Sins and Valiskabum are just annoying. I don't think there's anything morally wrong with them. Hey, wait a second. I don't know why this page I'm looking at is so against there being an article on Shadman, though. He's definitely a pretty atrocious YouTuber. According to this page, the wiki was borderline anti-porn, which caused drama, as it is anti-free speech or pro-hate speech. I don't know if I'd agree that making fun of porn is hate speech, especially when it's the kind of shit that Shadman would make. Keep in mind, there are good erotic internet artists, such as Alpha995, Derpixen, and Deeves. Citation needed. They even had the courage of featuring a page criticizing MrBeast during his first years here, despite being one of the most popular and greatest YouTubers of all time. The page itself is also biased and poorly written, so much so that it makes you wonder why it got featured in the first place. Yeah, this page I'm reading off might have, you know, aged like milk, but the Atrocious YouTubers Wiki is just one of a whole network of sites known as reception wikis. Quite surprisingly for these types of places, these are often hosted on Mirahis and not fandom. You know you're on a reception wiki when the article is heavily opinionated, but that kind of defeats the point of having a wiki, doesn't it? But whatever. It has this format for every article. It usually identifies what the thing is, and then has a little header saying why it's bad, but it's usually themed around whatever it's talking about. Like, for example, let's take the Crappy Games Wiki, which was apparently the first reception wiki. You go to the page for, like, I don't know, Sonic 06, and it tells you why this game isn't a snazzy performance. Or you go to the page for Bubsy 3D, and it tells you why it all went wrong. Like, that's fun. I get those. That's what the character says in the game. They also always have a redeeming qualities section, which I suppose is nice. After the Crappy Games Wiki came a whole slew of these reception wikis. Awful Movies Wiki, Terrible Shows and Episodes Wiki, Dreadful Literature Wiki, Rotten Websites Wiki, Loathsome Characters Wiki, and of course there's also the positive ones like Awesome Games, Greatest Movies, Magnificent Literature, etc, etc. Where these wikis started getting into conflict though is when they started making reception wikis based on internet figures. Atrocious YouTubers Wiki is one of them, of course, but there were also apparently awful Twitter users, atrocious deviants, horrible Vyonders, which, for those who don't remember, quick recap, Vyond is formerly known as Go Animate. Yeah, as if it wasn't obvious yet, this is the obligatory Logo Kid / Go Animate / Barney Error / Pooh's Adventures entry of this tier. Wait a second, they made a They made a crummy Scratchers wiki? What the fuck? Scratch is like it's like a kid's site. I made stuff on that when I was like literally 9 years old. I think these wikis might just be children continually trying to dunk on each other in writing that feels like a strange mix of CinemaSins and Encyclopedia Dramatica. That page I was just reading off on why the atrocious YouTubers wiki was atrocious itself, yeah, that was actually a page on the Tiresome Wikis wiki. So I think someone should make a reception wiki based on reception wikis based on reception wikis so they can be set straight. As you might expect with any popular wiki, but especially ones as subjective as these, flame wars were rampant across most of them. Wikis are a style of website that specifically benefits from multiple collaborators that are all individual people with their own opinions, combining their thoughts together to form something that should ideally be objective. Reception wikis spit in the face of that by their mere concept, so it's no surprise that there are constant arguments between members on whether or not some things even deserve articles. Like here, the Tiresome Wikis wiki, or rather someone who decided to edit it, seems pissed that there's a page on the Crappy Games wiki about Cars 3 Driven to Win. The #1 Cars 3 Driven to Win fan in the entire world decides to speak up. It's for this reason that many of these wikis have been deleted off Mirahis, whether that be by the moderators of the wiki, or sometimes even the admins of Mirahis itself for attracting too much toxicity. I mean, think about it. Even Wikipedia itself has struggles with objectivity. Many accuse Wikipedia of having a slight liberal bias. I'm not exactly sure if that's true, but it's not easy having thousands of editors agree on how to write something. Many of the longest talk pages on Wikipedia are controversial things like Jesus Christ, anti-Semitism, China, global warming, the clitoris, list of Canadians. There have even been offshoots of Wikipedia that try to push it in the other direction, but they end up overshooting and creating something honestly not too dissimilar to reception wikis or Encyclopedia Dramatica. Speaking of, I'm kind of shocked on Encyclopedia Dramatica managing to stay around for this long. They even have a page on reception wikis with flashing rainbow text taunting them, calling them unoriginal. That must hurt. Encyclopedia Dramatica has always had way stronger of a hive mind circle jerk than any of these other wikis, so I guess they were destined to win in the end. This entry refers to the music video for Face Destroy by Zombie Flesh Eater, a super heavy breakcore song from 2006. It's a pretty cool music video, honestly, even if it is completely unhinged. Or rather, I should say because it's completely unhinged. The visuals feel like a Maruosa video, which is most likely because they're done by Narihiro Sektani, who also worked on a couple of the Maruosa videos. This entry refers to a now lost video that was tied into the whole Fire Fairy hoax from 2017. If you don't know, which you might not because this was kind of obscure, but there is a video circulating around Russian YouTube that teaches kids how to become a fire fairy from the popular animated series Winx Club. According to the video, all you had to do is go up to your stove when everyone is asleep, walk around the room 3 times, and then say the magical words, "Alfie Kingdom, sweet little fairies, give me the power, I'm asking you." Then go to the kitchen silently so no one notices you, or the magic of the words will disappear. Switch on the gas stove, all 4 burners, but do not light it. You don't want to get burns, do you? Then go to sleep. The magic gas will come to you, you will breathe it while sleeping, and in the morning, when you wake up, say, "Thank you, Althea, I've become a fairy," and you'll become a real fire fairy. Obviously, this prank is incredibly unsafe, as many kids in Russia actually died as a result of this video, or at least were left with severe burns, such as 5-year-old Sofia Zova, who I'm not going to show images of here, but you can look them up for yourself, and yeah, it was pretty fucked up. This takes the 4chan prank stuff I was talking about to a whole new, terrible level. Like, bricking someone's phone is a pretty shitty thing to do, but like, I don't know, maybe almost killing a family of 8 is taking it a little too far. That might just be me, I don't know. Bacon the Unicorn in Uniporn is a video uploaded by Cybernetic Sponge, although apparently it was made by Max Myko Wood, featuring Bacon the Unicorn and Lex Uberbogen. It's literally just 3 minutes of this guy pretending his unicorn plush and unicorn figurine are fucking. Oh, and also there's apparently a band of the same name. The Iceberg mentions this video and Uniporn in all caps. It's the only other thing named Uniporn I could find, but I don't think they're related. Like, I don't know, that's not really like a hard pun to come up with. Hung Vlog is a vlogging channel ran by Vietnamese YouTuber Nguyen Van Hung. He's pretty big on the Vietnamese side of YouTube, it would seem, with around 3.5 million subscribers. Apparently in 2020, he was forced to take down 2 of his videos. The first one was making soup with an unplugged chicken, and another was about stealing money and breaking piggy banks. According to this article, Hung Vlog was forced to remove his videos by his city's government, who gave him a fine of 17.5 million Vietnamese dong, which is equivalent to around $700 US. They told him to remove them because he was sharing information that doesn't suit traditional Vietnamese habits and customs. This article is pretty much the only English language source I could find surrounding the removal of his videos, but it seems it didn't hurt him too bad because he still uploads pretty much every day. Girl Gets Doll Eye Stuck in Her Eye is a pretty hard video to watch for me, not because it's particularly gory or disturbing or anything, but because I just don't like eyeball stuff. Essentially, this little girl really wanted to have blue eyes, so she did what any normal person would think to do, and she took an eye from her doll to put into her eye socket. The mom is constantly scolding her the entire video because it was a pretty stupid thing to do. What gets me about this video is that the girl seems way older than you would expect. Like, she's still obviously a child, but she seems like 12 or 13. Definitely old enough to know that it isn't a good idea, but hey, whatever. Kids do stupid shit all the time, I guess. By the end of the video, the mom gets the eyeball out, and the girl supposedly turned out perfectly fine. At least according to the comments, I don't know. The State of Loss and Woe is a Thai animation uploaded in 2014 by Dhammakaya Post, and it depicts Naraka, which is the Buddhist equivalent of hell. The video starts out with a guy on his deathbed as he recounts his life, which was plagued with immoral deeds like drunkenness and cheating on his partner. After he dies, the rest of the video is dedicated to him and countless other bodies being tortured endlessly in hell. It's pretty gory for YouTube, honestly. I guess it qualifies as educational. Actually, I don't think gore matters as long as it's animated. Anyways, this video is just one of several of these animations across YouTube that all have the same art style and depict punishments carried out in hell. It's meant to scare people into becoming religious, or at least moral, so they don't have to be tortured forever. There's this series on the channel how each kind of sinner gets punished. Like, if you're a liar, then you get boiled in shit, like literal poop, and alcoholics will be force-fed acidic liquid and get all their skin torn off. Like, Jesus Christ, I thought the Christian hell was brutal. YouTube.com/activate is a page for connecting a new device to your YouTube account. However, YouTube.com is also the name of a now suspended YouTube channel, one that joined in 2014 and for whatever reason had a little under 4 million subscribers. Especially weird when you consider that the channel doesn't have any views, since to have views you need videos, and yeah, it doesn't have any videos. That's pretty much this entire channel. If you use the Wayback Machine, you can find that they made a community post that just said Vladimir in Cyrillic lettering, I guess, and the channel's location is in Russia. So I assume this is a YouTube-run channel, but I don't know why it would be in Russian, and I also don't know why it would have 4 million subscribers. Yeah, this one just kind of eludes me. Mr. Black Darkness 666, also known as Vlad Black, is a YouTuber who started uploading videos in 2010. 2 entries in a row with the name Vlad. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Anyways, this guy was a vlogger who played this exaggerated character of a goth, emo edgelord, you know, kind of a Marilyn Manson parody. He would always upload these videos cursing the world, being pissed for some reason, and talking about how Satan will come down and rain fire on the world because goths are being discriminated against by society. His most iconic video is The Life of a Goth, where he's walking down the street and gets laughed at by children. It's pretty obvious that the video is staged. He's trying to hold back a smile the entire time, and the kids definitely seem in on it.
You see what I have to deal with every day? This is what I have to go through every day. Every day when I walk down the street, and they just taunt me like this, and it's making me crazy.
My guess is that he just approached a random group of kids and asked them to help out for a video, and the kids, being kids, obliged because everybody wants to be on YouTube. The video was uploaded in October of 2010. However, it would gain a large resurgence of popularity around 2016 thanks to, of course, Leafy making a video on the subject. Leafy's kind of stupid, right? That's not an uncontroversial opinion, I don't think. He's just kind of a dumbass. I feel like even his fans would agree with that. And he didn't get the joke, titling his video "The Saddest Man on YouTube" and reacting to it as if it's absolutely not satire.
This is where I live. I live up there, where you can see the grapes. Yeah, I know it's a fucking dump, and I hate it here.
Look, dude, I don't want to be an asshole, but I think anyone that's gonna consider me an asshole has probably already done it, so how are you gonna wear this shit, dude? Like,
I've always hated Leafy's stupid fake laugh. The two channels would then begin to shoot response videos back at each other. Vlad kept making videos trolling Leafy, like trying to curse him with voodoo magic, as well as making teary-eyed vlogs, saying that his girlfriend saw Leafy's video and she left him because of it.
Everything was going fine, and then she also saw that video from that guy. That fucking Leafy guy. And she was like, you know what? There's some truth to that fucking video. Maybe it's time to grow up and change into something more.
While Leafy kept responding, and even doubling down on the idea that he's not a troll. The most important part of the saga was when Keemstar got both of them to come on Drama Alert and hash out their differences. It essentially ended with Vlad agreeing to lift the so-called curse on Leafy. However, he explicitly stated that he hadn't done so yet, and as it would turn out, he would never lift the curse. Why is that important, you might ask? Especially when Vlad is so clearly a troll and not a real sorcerer or witch or whatever he's supposed to be. Well, what happened in Leafy's life after this? Let's see. He got a content cop made about him. Everyone bullied him for his fucked up chin. The adpocalypse happened, which resulted in a ton of his videos being demonetized. And then he left YouTube for nearly 3 years, came back, then got banned from YouTube and Twitch, started streaming on Rumble, and, you know, now he looks like this, and who fucking knows what he's up to nowadays. Like, I don't know, it definitely feels like Mr. Black Darkness 666's curse worked its magic. Even though he lived with the curse in 2020, maybe it was too little too late. This is the music video for George Bush Cut Up While Talking, a song by the experimental rock band Godspeed You Black Emperor. The song is a hidden track on Yankee UXO, and, well, experimental definitely describes it best. The band took this speech by then US President George W. Bush and cut it up a bunch of times to make it unintelligible. It's kind of reminiscent of a sentence mixed to YouTube poop, but the difference here is that the clips don't form language of any kind, and it's just George Bush speaking gibberish. Interspersed throughout this video is this clip of identical-looking audience members clapping in some strange motion. Finally, in the background, there's this pitched-up audio clip of someone saying, "How can I do what is right?" is the predominant question. Why am I here, and what can I do to make it better?
You did more than 40 billion. The predominant question. Why am I here? And what can I do to make it better? Downpouring amounts of on the streets of our embassy offered in violence in Pakistan, and what can I do to
Japan,
make it better?
Great Britain.
Putting it all together, this video has a pretty damn unsettling atmosphere, intentionally so. The video is so well done that it actually has a creepypasta written about it, except it's called Ronald Reagan Cut Up While Talking. The story is about a cursed VHS tape of Ronald Reagan's speech that slowly devolves into gibberish, and then he slowly starts to develop incisions and lacerations all over his body. You know, he himself literally gets cut up while talking, as opposed to just the video. It even says that in the video, Ronald Reagan's speech discusses increasingly darker topics like torture and child molestation, and even predictions for topics Reagan himself couldn't have possibly known about, like the September 11th attacks. Then he gets impaled, and even his genitals mutilated. Okay, who the hell wrote this? This is an SCP? They lit what's essentially a Russian Death Files wiki entry onto the SCP Foundation site, and it's about fucking ronaldreagan.exe. Okay, I'm being a little harsh on it because it's funny. It's fairly well written and doesn't deserve to be compared to a Russian death file, though I still prefer when it happens to George Bush. King Ass Ripper, also known to some as hairy and gross, gluttonous slob, or even the gassy gainer, is a individual who's on the internet. His content oh shit, sorry, his art mainly focuses around how gross he likes to act. By that, I mean his stuff is basically fetish porn, more specifically weight gain, messy eating, and even farts.
Oh shit, farting on my roommate's door, ha.
Some of you might be familiar with his works if you listened to me all the way back in Tier 2, when I told you to go to the Portal Radio Loop 10 hours video and skip to 5 hours and 19 minutes. What would show up is a video of King Ass Ripper himself doing sit-ups and push-ups, while farting extremely loudly, while also grunting a lot. You might also know him from the various places he's been featured over the years. He was a contestant on Vinesauce's Vine Wrestle, and he was even talked about on Tosh.0, the Your Mom's House podcast, and the Joe Rogan Experience.
That's still. Oh no, okay, he is moving. Is that real?
I guess at some point someone just told him that he's really good at farting loudly for a long time, and he just decided that at that moment that would be what he crafts his public image around. I definitely don't enjoy watching any of his videos, but I especially don't enjoy any of his videos where he intentionally eats messily. He always gets like sauce and crumbs all over himself and like eats the food bits off his chest, and even sometimes says like, yeah, I bet you want to eat this shit off my body. Like, no, I don't. I fucking don't. God. The name of his merch store is even called Drenched in Mayo, which is just fucking disgusting. Despite his long history on the internet dating all the way back to the late 2000s to like current day, I don't really have much to talk about when it comes to him personally, besides him just being really gross. He's kind of a one-trick pony in that sense. I suppose it is pretty amusing that he constantly gets banned off YouTube, despite his videos technically not violating the terms of service. Like, he's never naked, and he never does anything explicitly explicit, I guess. He just eats food in a really gross way and fucking farts a lot. His videos also used to have a lot of commenters, some of which even unironically being fans of his. As in, they use his videos as like gooning material. His channel is RRRTTT, though he always unlists his videos shortly after uploading them to avoid YouTube censorship. He's kind of like the Nikocado of his time period, although King Ass Ripper was always definitely more artful with his videos. Also, Nikocado was like playing a character to make a point about something, and I mean, King Ass Ripper's just like that. In the script for this entry, I'm just now realizing that I wrote the words "I'd like to move on now" twice on accident, so yeah, I think I want to move on. The channel formerly known as Animals Around Us is now known as Thai MTV. Despite the name, it is actually Vietnamese. Most of their videos, or at least the most popular one, focus around this big bucket of water they have. They always start pouring random fish and other aquatic animals into the bucket, including eels, carps, betta fish, axolotls, koi fish, and even frogs and baby ducks. I don't really know why they do this, maybe it's for kids or something, but putting this many animals into such a small and enclosed space is considered by most to be animal cruelty. Now, I couldn't really find anything about who runs this channel, but their newer videos seem a bit more normal, I think. Hopefully they stopped. LPSTube apparently literally just refers to the YouTube community surrounding the toy franchise Littlest Pet Shop. More specifically, people in this community will make videos with toys. Sometimes it's just showing off their collection or general discussion about the series, but other times they make a narrative episodic series by voicing the toys. Almost always made by children, these types of videos have been on YouTube for a very long time, since around 2006. Now, this subculture is certainly not my area of expertise. This might surprise you all, but I was never into Littlest Pet Shop. Those are girl toys, and I like boy toys. While it is an interesting side of YouTube with increasingly high production value and storytelling, it's not something I can really talk about from a first-hand experience. Something I am familiar with, though, is the various videos kids have made about historical events using littlest pet shop toys. Like LPS World War II, LPS 9/11 special crying emoji, praying hands emoji, LPS version FDR Pearl Harbor speech 75th anniversary, LPS Anne Frank clip, LPS Holocaust Remembrance Day. All of these are pretty classic videos. I'm not exactly sure why they pick this subject matter. I assume they get assigned to do it in class or something. Anyways, apparently this LPS tube pretty much no longer exists. When YouTube Kids was first started, a lot of these videos started getting marked down as for kids, if they so much as had LPS in the title, which meant that even the adults making these videos would have all their comments disabled, and they would lose all their revenue, which is honestly kind of fucked up. Oh, and by the way, I have no clue why this is in tier 10. Like, there are several multi-million view videos on this subject. This definitely feels like something I talk about in like tier 4 or something. My Year at John Lilly's Dolphin Lab is a video uploaded by Ted Nelson, who is, according to Wikipedia, a pioneer of information technology who coined the term hypertext. That's not what's important right now, though. What is important is what he's actually talking about in this video, which is his time at John C. Lilly's Dolphin Lab. For the uninitiated, because I certainly was, John C. Lilly was a famous neuroscientist and psychoanalyst. He was first known for, well, first investing the sensory deprivation tank, and then taking a fuck ton of LSD and going inside just to see what would happen. However, most people know the name from his controversial experiments from the 1960s on bottlenose dolphins in the US Virgin Islands. And let me tell you, the islands these experiments took place on were the only virgin thing about them.
She liked me, and as she swam by, she would often present her genitals, which I would caress and sometimes finger. She liked that. I contemplated coming in on a Saturday at a time no one would be around and actually attempting intercourse. I was young and horny and, I believe, capable. But the idea that I might be found dead, naked, and raked by dolphin teeth deterred me.
Okay, I'm getting to that! Let me finish! Fuck! The research mainly focused on how humans could better work their way to understanding animals, or I guess in a broader sense, life forms that aren't humans. This was the 1960s, which meant that the United States was in the heat of the space race, and scientists were increasingly interested in communication with extraterrestrial life. Dolphins, considered by most to be the second most intelligent species on Earth besides humans, were the main subject of the research. Many experiments were conducted under John C. Lilly's plan relating to the communication of dolphins and humans. He even, most controversially, gave LSD to the dolphins. Scientists and I guess NASA, since that's who was funding all this, were just really interested in LSD in the 1960s, especially John C. Lilly. He believed it gave people a higher state of consciousness, and he wanted to replicate that in dolphins. Even more controversially, he created something called a dolphinarium, which usually just means an aquarium for dolphins, but in this case, it meant a flooded residential home that they allowed to have 3 dolphins live in. Margaret Howe Lovett, another researcher who worked with John Lilly, believed that if she lived with the dolphins like a human mother would live with her child, she would be able to teach the dolphins to speak English, and, well, she got a little too attached, and with no way of sugarcoating it, had sexual intercourse with the dolphin. Long story short, the project was defunded and eventually discontinued. Then the dolphins were eventually relocated to a smaller tank, and the dolphin who had intercourse with Margaret Lovett apparently died, which John Lilly believed to be because of heartbreak. Yeah, the dolphin apparently got so depressed that it ended up taking its own life. So, wow. John C. Lilly was so into psychedelics that he also believed in things like the Earth Coincidence Control Office, or ECHO for short, a cosmic entity he said orchestrates all coincidences in human life. He lived as possibly the most literal definition of a mad scientist, and he passed away in 2001. But his research was influential enough to have several works inspired by it, like the 1980 Hollywood film Altered States, the Japanese animated series Serial Experiments Lane apparently, and of course the Sega Genesis video game Echo the Dolphin. Yeah, Sega really just did make a whole game roughly inspired by some dude who fed LSD to dolphins and let people fuck them, didn't they? But hey, if they didn't, then we wouldn't have Vaporwave. So, anyways, back to the video. Yeah, this is the aforementioned Ted Nelson describing his experiences at the Dolphin Lab, and even admitting to participating in sexual activities with Chi-Chi the dolphin. It's a pretty wild 25-minute watch. Destiny is an obscure, controversial organization created by Bernard Poolman, a guy who is just your average Namibian. The organization focuses around self-improvement kind of stuff. You know, there's a paragraph on their website where they say they research and investigate the essence of what it means to live responsibly and fully, and that it's done through the participation of everyone that is interested and dares to take on the journey of self-discovery. Many, including this very Iceberg chart, consider this group to be a cult. And yeah, that's probably not inaccurate. According to this Vice article by River Donahue, Bernard Poolman believed himself to be an exorcist of some kind, able to save people who were possessed by demons. Like, for example, in the 1990s, he claims a film crew came to his house to interview him about a software he created, which could cure ADHD and other behavioral issues in children. Then, one of the cameramen had a seizure on set, but Bernard believed it was a demonic possession. He grabbed him, held him, and told the man to say he forgives himself, and suddenly the demon was gone. According to Bernard, this was all captured on video, but the film crew was so terrified that they destroyed any evidence of it. And then from that day, he dedicated his life to ridding the world of demons and started the Destiny organization to help save people from possession. Some other things he claims is that he died once and in the afterlife met up with both Jesus Christ and Adolf Hitler. Destiny is one of those online cults that would spread its good word on the early years of YouTube's lifespan. That being said though, it only had around 100 members, 20 of which lived on a farm with Bernard Poolman around the outskirts of Pietermaritzburg in South Africa. Destiny isn't officially recognized by anyone outside of the group as anything more than either a joke, a scam, or a cult. Rick Allen Ross, who is probably the most internationally well-known expert on cults, says Destiny fits into the category of a cult-like authoritarian group, which uses thought reform techniques, and he sees it as potentially unsafe. I can't stress enough how insane Bernard Poolman was.
Bernard Poolman promotes the forgiveness of Hitler.
Not only did he say he met Adolf Hitler in the afterlife, but as he mentioned in his book, I Am Hitler, he forgave him so hard that he became an all-powerful super demon who helped people. Man, what is it with these kinds of people and Hitler? That's a rhetorical question. I think I know what's with these guys and Hitler. Bernard is no longer with the group, as he passed away back in 2013. However, the group's website still seems to operate, and I think they're still active, which is kind of surprising. The site is still kept up by some devout Destonians. Yes, that's literally what they're called, though it's clear that it's far smaller than it once was, which is saying a lot because it never really was that big to begin with. I'm only scratching the surface here. There's honestly enough here that you could make an entire video on Destiny, which, to my knowledge, no one has really done before on YouTube. So if you want to dive down the rabbit hole yourself, I'll link this article by a blogspot page called The Destiny Cult in the description. Oh Jesus, another cult already? Well, Love Has Won, sometimes known by alternate names such as the Galactic Federation of Light and 5D Full Disclosure, was a religious movement started around 2006 by Amy Carlson. Followers of the movement, which today is almost exclusively referred to as a cult by media outlets and ex-members, believed Amy Carlson, who they called Mother God, to be a 19 billion-year-old deity that created the universe, could cure cancer, and was the reincarnation of not only Jesus Christ, but also Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, Harriet Tubman, and Marilyn Monroe. She also said that she can communicate with the spirits of deceased celebrities like Robin Williams, John Lennon, Prince, Tupac, David Bowie, Michael Jackson, Steve Irwin, and even the currently alive Donald Trump, who she believed to be her father. She told her followers, gathered through YouTube and elsewhere on the internet, that she would lead 144,000 people to the fifth dimension. This group has a long and winding history of complete insanity, and even eventually ended with Amy Carlson's mummified corpse being discovered in someone's house. I couldn't possibly go super in-depth with explanations on the century, but I would recommend you go watch the HBO documentary series Love Has Won, The Cult of Mother God, for more info on this stuff. It's fucking ridiculous. Goosh Goosh is a shock video, which is a clip from the anime Tokyo Tribe 2, where the main antagonist, Buppa, sexually assaults a man to death. Not much to say about this one, and I'm obviously not going to show it here, so moving on. Whenever I see one of those entries that's just a channel whose name is just some person's first and last name, I get worried that I'm going to have to talk about a real-life murder case or something of the sort, but thankfully this guy is just an animator. Jacob Burov makes some really weird shit. Perhaps most well known for punitive psychiatry, which is... He's also known for doing music videos for certain metal bands like Obsidian Kingdom and The Lion's Daughter, which I honestly haven't heard of, but he also did the music video for Fairy Tale, a song by a Russian band called Iceberg with over 40 million views. His stuff is pretty trippy. Sawako Kabuki is another animator on this tier. Her stuff is also pretty weird.
Gokiburi, gokiburi, gokiburi taiso. Gokiburi, gokiburi, gokiburi taiso.
Dr. Hugeflake is fucking gross. So, you know how on YouTube there's those pimple popping videos that people sometimes watch, mainly because, like, it's satisfying? Well, there's also a smaller, albeit still large community on the site dedicated to the treatment and removal of dandruff. I'm sorry to anyone who watches this kind of content, because I definitely had people in my comment section saying they like the pimple popping videos, but I personally think these dandruff videos are even more disgusting. Them pulling this flaky shit out of their scalp, it's just ugh. However, one of these channels, Dr. Hugeflake, takes this a step further. Well, actually a lot of steps further. Way too many steps further. In the earliest videos on this channel, there are pretty reasonable takes on the dandruff removal format. Like, you know, there's some person with dandruff and they treat it. These videos might be faked, I honestly didn't care to look hard enough to tell, but still. However, shit takes a turn for the worst really fast. They start making videos removing these comically large clumps of fucking crusty shit on their head that look more like hats than anything. And oh my god, they start adding fucking bugs to these things. Like, there's real life maggots and worms wriggling around in this person's fucking sandcastle they have on their head. I might be doing a bad job describing this, and that's because I'm way too grossed out to be looking at this for too long, and I'm absolutely not showing it to anyone who doesn't want to see this either. Look up Dr. Hugeflake if you're really interested in what I'm talking about, but it's just so gross. It's also definitely fake. Dandruff can't get so bad that bugs start creating colonies inside your hair. But, like, they're still clearly putting that shit in their hair, and the bugs are definitely real, so, yeah. Worst of all is that the focus of the video is almost always a child. This has to constitute as child abuse, right? Like, there's no way you're allowed to cover your child's hair in maggots and wasp nests. Surely this should be illegal. And yet, Dr. Hugeflake remains on YouTube to this day with over 100,000 subscribers. It's fucking shocking, and almost feels fetishistic. Do hyper dandruff fetishes exist? Because this is that taken to its natural extreme. The person who runs Dr. Hugeflake also used to run a second account called Kitten Tick, where they do similar things with removing ticks from cats. Now, this channel is at least a little better than the last one because the ticks are actually just seeds they put on the cat's face, but I still think it's pretty inhumane and constitutes animal abuse, which is why Kitten Tick was eventually banned off YouTube. But Dr. Hugeflake is still up, so kind of weird. Magma Diver, not to be confused with episode 10 of Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is also titled Magma Diver, is a video that has since been taken down for copyright reasons, and to my knowledge there is no known archive of. However, judging from this Reddit thread and this thumbnail, we can gather that it's a 4-minute long video of someone crucifying a doll of Asuka from Evangelion. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, so Cutie the Kitten is both the name of a YouTuber and a game based on the YouTuber. The channel, which is popular around 2016, was this MS Paint animator who claimed to be a 12-year-old girl. Her avatar was this pink cat character, and she was really obsessed with Sans from Undertale, saying that she was his wife. I guess this 12-year-old got into a lot of drama, as many seem to not look back on this channel fondly. You can find, like, commentary videos, which granted were probably made by people in a similar age range, just hating on her videos for being cringe. Interestingly, popular YouTuber Quiet Tomato, known for being the creator of the Five Nights at Freddy's fan animated series Springtrap and Mangle, was planning to create a game based on Cutie the Kitten using the Doom engine of all things. The game was planned to have around 40 levels and have full cutscenes and boss battles. However, only 3 screenshots have ever surfaced from the gameplay. It supposedly would have had similar gameplay to Undertale, except it's 3D. However that would work. I don't even know why this would warrant its own game, but it makes a little more sense when you see one of Quiet Tomato's other tweets, where he explains that Cutie the Kitten was actually a made-up persona of one of his Google Plus friends, and they were just trolling everyone. Honestly, a pretty good bit. Dragon Lord Frodo is, I guess, this obscure streamer who's become kind of a lolcow. He's pretty reclusive, spending most of his time in his apartment in Buffalo, New York, dressed in nothing but a t-shirt and his tidy whities. He's known for getting really mad over basically nothing, most of the time just being that his live stream didn't receive enough comments. I'm kind of conflicted because this guy is very clearly mentally ill and has severe anger issues, but at the same time he's also, you know, a known animal abuser. There's a couple clips around where he screams at his cat and even admits to starving her and beating her. They're not really a whole lot productive, I can say, about this guy. There's a handful of lolcow YouTubers who have covered him before, if you're really interested, but for me, I'm just gonna keep it moving. Deploys Insane is a pretty obscure YouTube channel that now no longer exists. The only video ever confirmed to have existed on this channel is a video called Trainando, where he's shooting a bow and arrow at some targets. The person this channel belonged to was a 17-year-old boy by the name of Guilherme Tauchi, who, in 2019, orchestrated the Suzano High School massacre in Sao Paulo, Brazil, alongside his partner in crime, 25-year-old Luis Henrique de Castro. They were both ex-students of the school, and many reports say they were influenced by both Columbine, as well as Dogala-chan, a Brazilian alt-right message board. The shooting would essentially be Brazil's equivalent to Columbine, with several other shootings happening afterwards that are directly said to have been committed by people inspired by the event. As for the channel, what's interesting about the YouTube channels of murderers is that you often get a pretty raw look into their mind and what led them to do the things they did. However, this clearly isn't the case with this one. He shoots a bow and arrow, but like, that's not really indicative of anything. I guess there was a bow and arrow at the scene, but it obviously wasn't used to kill anyone, so it's really up to you to decide whether or not this says anything about the attack. No matter the case, it remains one of the largest scale school shootings in the country. Why I Killed So Many Liberians, the demonic confession of General Butt Naked, is a 2-hour-long video detailing the never-before-seen confessions of Joshua Milton Blai, better known by a pseudonym used during his time as a warlord, General Butt Naked. Now, during the 1990s, in the American colony, now independent country of Liberia, a civil war was being waged over the corruption and totalitarianism present in the Liberian government. General Butt Naked was the leader of a group of soldiers that fought on the side of the government, and he was one of the most evil warlords of all time. He enlisted soldiers who were primarily children, and true to his name, wore no clothes whatsoever, besides like magic charms, as he believed it would render him impervious to bullets. Of course, he never did get touched by a bullet, so maybe he was onto something. General Butt Naked practiced many horrible atrocities like cannibalism and human sacrifice. He said in an interview, "Sometimes I would enter under the water where children were playing. I would dive under the water, grab one, carry him under and break his neck. Sometimes I'd cause accidents. Sometimes I'd just slaughter them." So, yeah, pretty unsavory guy. According to him, he did this when he was under the control of Satan, but nowadays he's actually a Christian pastor. Yeah, apparently he's a changed man. He's just kind of around nowadays. This ABC article says specifically that he goes to chess club on Saturdays, and for a while you could even straight up add him on Facebook. There's all these news articles about how he's like repented, and that's good, sure, but like really guys, are we forgiving this dude? Like just like that? I don't know if I agree with that. Yeah, this video is pretty fucked up. It's a 911 call followed by body cam footage. It starts with a 6-year-old boy and his mom calling the police on each other. The boy is saying that the mom is trying to kill him, while the mother is trying to say that they're making us kill each other, although whoever they is very unclear. After that, the body cam footage plays and the boy walks out covered in around 24 stab wounds. They go into the house and the mother, identified as Claudia Nadia Rodriguez, tries to take the officer's gun, resulting in her being shot to death in front of the child. Even given the circumstances, a lot of people consider it police brutality that the officers had to do that. However, they weren't charged with anything and it was considered self-defense. I don't have much else to say about this video. It's truly just one of the most disturbing videos on the website. This entry refers to this video uploaded in 2020 by YouTube user Jeff and Katz. Around 7 o'clock in the evening, the fire alarm started ringing in this guy's apartment. So what he did is that he took out his camera and vlogged the entire evacuation process. You'd expect the video to be fairly morbid and haunting, and yeah, it definitely is. I think the terror and sadness in the uploader is pretty palpable. However, I also very much appreciate the dad trying to lighten up the mood.
Oh, remember I said about be careful what you ask for? I never asked for this! You wanted to move, right?
CamelSlaughter.mp4 refers to a video of a camel being brutally slaughtered, which is pretty self-explanatory, right? Now, this video is one of those that possibly doesn't exist, and the legend originates from the Roblox community. The story goes that there'd be a video like this, and it would be posted to the old Roblox forums around 2012. Specifics are different between those who recounted it happening. This one Reddit poster says video of a camel getting its neck cut open that got randomly queued several times in plug.dj rooms on the official Roblox forums. I'm not 100% sure who kept doing it, got banned, but it happened like 5 times that I know of, one of which I unfortunately ran into. Another person corroborates this, saying that they also saw the video, adding an IDK. It might not even be the same video, but from what I remember, it was an unfinished room, and it had a lot of echo. Terrible quality too, like 144p or something. I don't know, it's just a vague memory. Right, so these were left in the comment section of a Roblox Iceberg posted to Reddit in June of 2020. There's also a story written about this CamelSlaughter.mp4 posted on the Roblox Creepypasta wiki. This page apparently needs to be immediately deleted. Okay, shit. This person's story goes that someone posted the video saying, "Here's a video of a camel with a smiley face." Then he clicked on the video and it apparently showed a real camel getting his neck stabbed multiple times as blood pours out onto the floor. Now, this is consistent with the Reddit post. Sure, it was posted on a creepypasta page, but I guess it's not entirely possible that someone would post a real story as a creepypasta. However, it's also possible that they made up the story after seeing the Reddit post, since the earliest edits of the page was January 2021. Now, another mention of CamelSlaughter.mp4 comes from livegore.com. Yes, I actually went here for this video. According to the title and the description, this is the real video that was posted to the Roblox forums back when the forums were a thing. But a camel doesn't even get slaughtered in this one. He just gets like tied to a tree and then throws one of the people in the video with his mouth. And it definitely doesn't take place in an unfurnished room. That being said though, there are actually a lot of videos of camels having their necks sliced open floating around the internet, especially old videos. I actually found one posted 9 years ago, and yeah, it actually matches up perfectly, and it does link back to the YouTube video, which is now privated, so CamelSlaughter.mp4 did actually exist, and it could be found on YouTube. Yeah, you thought there was going to be one of those entries where I investigate some online urban legend and prove that it's fake? Yeah, I thought that too, but no, not this time, I guess. Hell, you can even go to the Roblox forum archive and search camel slaughter, and it's posted there numerous times. Well, don't I feel stupid now? Nicholas Boyd Stoutzenberger, better known by his chosen internet alias Nick Bait, is an internet denizen who at one point had a YouTube channel by the name of Dr. Nicholas Bait. Nick Bait is, no holds barred, the most disgusting person ever to grace the internet, or at least among the people I've heard about. This has just generally been a pretty gross video, what with King Ass Ripper, the dandruff guy, and the dolphin fucker, but trust me, Nick Bait goes far beyond that. If you don't want to hear me talk about any of these things, turn back now. There's so many videos on YouTube you could be watching instead. Trust me, if there's like a big dip in viewership around this point in the video, I won't be upset or take it personally. So, where to start? Nick Bait was found all across the internet while he was still around, upholding a Twitter account, a DeviantArt account, a live journal, and of course, a YouTube account. On these platforms, he loved oversharing about his life, a mistake so many have made before and after him. The first thing to note about Nick is his very poor hygiene. Nick didn't like to brush his teeth, because brushing his teeth just wasn't very fun. That's a fact you could probably gather from just looking at him. He also never took showers, opting to pretend to take showers by rinsing his hair and calling it a day. He also didn't like wiping his ass, and his solution to that was definitely not to get a bidet, and instead he just got up and continued with his day. Now you might think, wait a minute, that's gross. Wouldn't he be disgusted with all the poop in his ass crack? How can he live with himself? Well, Nick Bait is what's known as a coprophile, a person who is sexually attracted to feces. Kind of like Justin RPG, right? The Pokemon poop guy. See, the difference with him is that Justin RPG didn't actually eat any poop. You know, Moltres isn't real, Reshiram isn't real, Lugia isn't real, and those produced the only kind of poop that Justin was interested in. So, to my knowledge, Justin never actually ate any shit in the real world. Nick is different. He was obsessed with shit. He would eat his own shit, drink his own shit, and apparently he would even jack off while using his own shit as lube. Oh, and then to clean up afterwards, he would just smear his hands on the walls. Yeah, that took a lot of takes to read. I don't even know what would drive a person to become like this. Like, really? You know you can just, like butts without liking what comes out of them, right? Like, forgive me for fucking kink-shaming, but can't you just be normal? He also did some other things which were pretty terrible, like cyberstalk a girl he met named Anna for years after she stopped talking to him because he was brutally honest about his butt stuff. Also, every time someone talks about him, they seem to bring up the fact that he was, like, really obsessed with Canada for some reason, and started saying words like a boot in a Canadian accent. That one's not nearly as bad as all the other shit he's done, but people like to refer to it as one of his defining characteristics, so whatever. Nick Bait, much like, again, Justin RPG, also makes music, although his is worse by a significant margin.
Anal rape. Anal rape. Anal rape.
Nick Bait Demos is a 5-minute album, which actually has a Rate Your Music page. Songs like Gonna Stick It in Anna's Butt, Butt Fuckin' in the Hood, I Like Sex, but only in the butt and mouth, and Doing Children in the Butt. Oh, and that last part isn't a lie either. As if coprophilia wasn't enough philia for one person, he was also really into children. Particularly, he hated vaginas because he thought it was gross the way they change after puberty. So his main fantasy was marrying a woman and then having a child, except the woman he would marry wouldn't actually be a woman and instead be a prepubescent girl. And he was very proud of this fact. In fact, he would even describe himself as a pedosexual, and he wasn't one of those non-offending ones, a fact that's actually why I'm talking about him in the past tense. In 2016, Nicholas was sent to prison for up to 40 years after sexual abuse he committed on a minor in 2009 came to light. And by minor, I mean one of his female relatives, who at the time was reportedly around 5 to 7 years old. So yeah, he's a completely vile human being who's currently rotting away in prison. Thank God, right? Nick Bait is definitely the most evil and disgusting person on this iceberg. Like, it really doesn't get much worse than this just for, like, internet figures in general. I honestly hope he dies in prison. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, I guess. And that concludes Tier 10, the Destroyer of Worlds tier of the massive YouTube iceberg. I think it's safe to say that while Tier 9 was possibly the most disturbing tier of the iceberg, this one was definitely the grossest. Nick Bait, King Ass Ripper, the dandruff guy. Yeah, I'm not going to look forward to editing those parts. I hope you at least found some entertainment value from it, though. Anyways, we're still inching closer and closer to the end. Next time we'll cover Tier 11, which will most likely be in 2 parts. Who fucking knows what's going to be in that? And I hope to have tier 12 and 13 in one big finale video that will take a bit longer to come out. So, as of right now, the plan is to finish the series in the next 3 videos, not including the one you just watched. Thank you to my supporters on Ko-fi, as well as on Patreon, and also everyone else who decided to watch my videos and subscribe. Join me next time, and hopefully before the end of 2024, when we start tier 11. See ya.